Hey, what's up guys? It's me, Kevin Eknes, and today we're trying out a new format for the YouTube channel. Now, this is meant to be kind of like an Ask Me Anything, where it's a chance for me to give back to the community for all the love and support that you guys keep giving me. And it's meant as kind of like a response to a lot of just accumulated different questions that I thought could be very useful for the rest of the community. Or it could be me highlighting like a very useful comment that provided some additional info, and that could be in regards to a gear. It could be kind of like a side of the gear that I didn't cover, or something else that could be useful to others, or it could be some additional material to say a lesson or something like that. Or if you were exploring a concept and you discovered something cool, then please let us know in the comments field for that. And between every one of these AMAs, I will definitely check every single one of the videos that are posted in between these and go pick a winner. Now the winner, it's just going to be a light giveaway to start off. I'm going to give out, send one of my EPs, maybe a couple of strings, some of my favorite stuff, maybe some picks, and just have it be a way for me to just give back to the community. And I hope you enjoy this and stick around to hear if your comment won the giveaway this time. Hey Alan, thanks for your question. I believe that the remedy for this issue is actually one of the most important aspects of music in general. It all comes back to vocabulary, in my opinion. Now, I believe that scales and cage systems and all that sort of stuff is great, and I think it's super important, but I think that the way that I look at kind of scales would be more of in the terms of the alphabet. And even though you know the alphabet, that doesn't mean that you know the language. And so the language or the words is your vocabulary. It's how you kind of build your sentences. And the way you build your sentences is based upon different words that you mix. And the words are your vocabulary. So for the vocabulary, you could have, say, a southern slang. Or you could have more of like a rock dialect. Or you could be more of a, I don't know, metal player. I don't know, metal. You could be a blues guy. You could have more kind of jazz chords. You could be more of a fusion guy. It's so kind of individual to wherever you're coming from, and wherever that is, I think it's important to stay true to that. But that doesn't mean limit yourself in any way. So the kind of way that you could work around that is you could expand your vocabulary to new words, or you could learn how to use your words in kind of different languages. The kind of prime example for this, I believe, is the lick. You've probably seen that hilarious video where just hundreds of jazz players are literally playing the same lick, and it's just being repeated. And that just comes to show that we're just repeating the same phrases because we only have 12 different notes, and there's only so many different ways of phrasing, say over the bar line, or different subdivisions that you could put it in. So everything is going to get repeated at some point. And it's the execution, and it's the way that you kind of merge the words together into your musical sentences that makes up for you as a player. And so what could be cool is if you take the lick, for instance, depending on what's underneath it, we could still use that over so many different chords. So let's imagine, say, E minor, the A shape from the cage system. We could resolve it on an A, for instance, or we could use it all over the A. We could resolve it to a C, or we could use it over C, just a static C chord. We could use it over a B chord. At that point, it becomes like a B minor. Over the C, it was a C Lydian because you had this note here, the Lydian chord, the sharp 11. So just depending on what's underneath it, the intervallic kind of values will change and it will give a different sound. And there's no limits to it. It just depends on how you want to analyze it. You could even go as crazy as B flat Lydian augmented. Can give that kind of augmented sound. So there's literally no limit to what you can do. It just depends on your intention in the execution, and try to mess around with the vocabulary that you already have and merge it together with the cage system. See how it looks like. What is it like to navigate through your vocabulary on the fretboard with variant kind of a variety of different fretboard visualization methods. I hope that helps, and keep the questions coming. Hey Antoine, thanks so much for the question. The way that I like to visualize chords is I like to recycle different voicings that I really love the sound of. And so the way that that works is I have the same core voicing and I just put it to different tonalities or modes or however you want to call it. Basically, this is one of my favorite voicings. This is the 9th fret of the D string, 5th fret of the G, 8th fret of the B string. One way you could look at this chord would be with an A under it, and it would be an A minor 9. But the exact same chord could also be a C major 7. It could be kind of like a B Phrygian sort of sound. It's got a flat 13 and a flat 9. It could be an A minor, kind of Aeolian sound with a flat 13. It could be a D sus4. It could be a F Lydian chord. It could be like a G at 4. And so you can see there are so many different ways of utilizing the same chord and recycling it. And I think what's important is to kind of pay attention to certain voicings on the guitar and how good they sound, because something or some sort of sounds and voicings to sound a particular way on the guitar, and it's important to stay true to what is really beautiful on the guitar, because the same voicings on guitar won't sound good on necessarily any other instrument, and it's just in the nature. I think cluster chords like this that has like a half step are beautiful when the half step is between the D string and the G string, which I think kind of comes back to my love for kind of single coils. Like the G magnet is staggered, it's a little bit further up, but also the kind of wound and unwound strings. And so that's just kind of one of my little ways of how I like to use voicings. And from there, it's easy to kind of navigate through sort of scale. So let's say we're taking this in A minor to keep that string open. If this is a Dorian chord, then we could move every one of these notes up one scale step in Dorian. So this is a 9, which becomes now minor third. The minor third becomes 11, and the 7 becomes 1. The minor third becomes 4. The 4 becomes 5. The 1 becomes 9. Now this is Dorian, so the 4 will become 5, but the 5 will become major 6, and then the 9 will become minor third. So this voicing here would be kind of developed in that way. Hope that helps. Hey Netzarim, I think that this is a great question. Now, I think it all comes down to what you're able to hear with your ears. and from being able to hear something, you're going to be able to do something, and from there you could kind of superimpose different small cadences in between the chords, or you could pretend that the chords are something different. For instance, if we're taking a look at the chord progression that you suggested, so let's say we're starting on the 6, let's say in C major. For the A chord, we know that it's going to go to the 4, and so something that we could do here is we could pretend that there's a 5 chord, 5 of the 6, before the 4 chord, because going from the 5 of the 6 to the 4 chord, that's actually just a half step up. So, and it can kind of create a cool little sense of we're going out of the key, because and from the 4 chord, for instance, if it's a 4 major, one of my favorite things to do with 4 chords that goes to the 1 chord is actually pretend that it's a 4 minor. So it's kind of that, it's got that Beatles sound. And for this one, you could just play it on top of a major, and that clash won't be so clashy, because both of the thirds are kind of present and they're both so strong, so it just sounds like you're just manipulating everything. And if you're playing with really good players, they might just take that third down to a minor third. And from the C going to the G, there's a ton of different stuff that you could do. You could create a fake 2-5-1 cadence, so you could go from C, you could go to A minor, or you could do the same thing, but you could go down chromatically. You could pretend that the C is a 4 and the G is a 1. And kind of find just different ways of creating like a tension and then a resolution to the chord that you're going to, and establish what intellectually what kind of mode is that, or like what is this? Is this a superimposed something? The kind of easiest is to always create kind of like a faux 5 altered of wherever you're going, which will pretty much always work as long as you can hear that strongly in your head. And that's kind of my approach. Just pretend that something is something that it's not, and as long as you know and have an intention of those particular colorful notes, it's going to work. Hope that helps. Okay, so this keeps coming up and it's pretty funny. This is what I use. It's called Renati rock card, actually. Funny enough, I can only find it in Norway, so I need to order it online, get it shipped to my mom, and then she ships it back to me in the States. And it's a whole procedure, but it's what works the best for my hair, and I don't have to use a whole lot. I can just put it in. It takes me literally 10 to 15 seconds to do my hair, and it's all done. Ready. Hey Sergio, thanks for your question. Lately I've been really loving the pickups from Josh from Righteous Sound Pickups. I think they're just uniquely dynamic and responsive. And for a humbucker, they're just some of the very best I've ever tried in my whole life. They are in fact so good that I'm having him build me a Strat-sized mini humbucker for my 1969 Strat. And if that tells you something, these ones got the original 1969 pickups, which are kind of sought after, especially for that mid-scooped Strat sound, which I really love. And that just comes to show that I'm willing to experiment with his pickups on something that just works so well on my Strat. And as far as single coils go, I really dig Nick Sorensen from Rocket Fire's Total 60 set. It's just got a really nice depth and body to the pickups, but they also have all of that just harmonic, beautiful overtone that we all love from single coils, and it's just a beautifully wound pickup to me. And I tend to aim more toward brighter sounding instruments because I like taming the highs in the amp or so rather than having to add it. If you have to add highs, to me, that kind of top end just sounds very artificial to me and kind of fake. So I'd rather really boost the lows and mids. So usually on my amp settings, you'll see that the highs are pretty far down and the mids and lows are pretty far up. And try to experiment with different parts in your guitar. Like maybe you need different kind of pots. Maybe you need, like my Sur, I ended up using 300K pots on that. While same pickups on a different guitar, I needed 500K pots. And it changes the taper of the volume knob. It changes how the pickup sounds in resonance with the guitar. You can mess around with different kind of hardware, different trem blocks, so many different trem blocks. There's so many different kind of options that you can like mess around with. And as far as amps, I really like that sort of plexi sort of a sound. That's just kind of what I grew up on. So the Victory Cherry was the kind of perfect fit to me. I was seriously blown away when I first tried it. But if I'm programming like a new sound on my Fractal, I'll go by either kind of like one of the Marshall Plexi sounds they have in there as a modeling, or maybe even the Friedman. Just something that's voiced after a Plexi, because that's just kind of my thing. So Plexi and a bright guitar, and then tame the highs if you need to. Kind of a recipe for my tone and what I seek after. Hope that helps. Now, this next one is our first giveaway winner, Jared. Congratulations. Make sure to let me know your email in the comments field below, and you can just delete it after and I'll get an email about your comment. And just a quick disclaimer, YouTube is not sponsoring any of this giveaway, neither is any company. It's just on my behalf, out of my pocket, just because I really appreciate the love and support that I get from you guys in our little YouTube community. And Jared, thanks for letting me talk about my new modification guitar that I'm very proud of. So I'm super excited about this kind of modification on my Strandberg. Now, this used to be the kind of picture model that Strandberg used for the neck through, the 2019 model. It's the one that was sent to me to demo and that I demoed. And by the end of it, there was just such a vibe playing this instrument that I really loved. And we worked out a deal so that I could keep it. And basically, I think the neck through design is wonderful. It's got an alder body, which is my favorite bodywood for guitars, especially when there's like a maple top on it. It kind of makes it a little bit brighter, which kind of makes up for the lost kind of snappiness that you would get in a neck through design. All in all, it's just a wonderful instrument to me. And I'm a single coil guy through and through, and through the other experiment with trying to put on a pickguard on it, I really wanted to do this on this one, but I wanted to do it a little bit different. So there's no swimming pool route. Nothing's really routed out except for the controls and switches. I wanted to maintain as much wood in this particular guitar as possible. So a lot of these saddles here are just leftover parts from the US Select, and then I really wanted a gold bridge, so I got it gold plated. These knobs here are Luminlay knobs, so they light up in dark, which is pretty cool. And the pickups that I ended up with right now, it's a Righteous sound, the Pat 64 pickup in the bridge, which is just a ridiculous humbucker. Anyway, I have some crazy wirings on it. And it's combined with, right now, it's the Rocketfire Total 60s Strat pickups. These ones really seem to fit this particular guitar because they're so bright and kind of helps make up for the lost snappiness from the kind of neck through design. The upper axis of the neck through is just kind of uncomparable to like a bolt-on. It's so good, and you can literally play anywhere. Without any issues. Right now, we have a titanium block by Voicinigs on the back. I've been kind of going back between that and the Sophia brass block. Both of them have quite a bit of like brightness into it. I'm thinking about going back to the Global Tuner Pro because I just recently revisited the demo that I did for them, and as of now, I kind of prefer the Global Tuner Pro, although the reason why I picked titanium earlier was because I preferred that. So I kind of go back and forth all the time, honestly. But anyway, yeah, It's a chambered alder body, neck through design, maple top. It's a bird's eye maple. It's a roasted maple neck. All in all, crazy guitar. I got some cool wiring things on it. So over here, it's kind of like the standard super strat kind of a deal. So position 5, it's neck pickup, neck and middle, 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 and the bridge slugs. So this bridge splits, so no screw coils. Bridge humbucker. I have this switch here which splits the humbucker, and now we only have the screw coils, so it's brighter, and the slugs are just cut out of this signal. That's split, not split. Over here, position 2, it's actually split the opposite, so now it's only the slug coils and no screws. So that's slug, screws, slug, a little bit different. Over here, we got humbucker in parallel with a neck and middle that's in series, so it's kind of like a dual humbucker sound. Over here, it's a neck pickup in parallel with the screws, so it's like that faux tele sound. Over here, we have neck pickup and middle in series, so it's like a faux humbucker sound. Now something else that's very unique and super cool is over in position 1, we actually have the blend sound, or the HSX by Strandberg, which is a great coil splitting system that has some innovative kind of ways of splitting the pickup so you're not losing so much volume, and it also scoops the mids quite a bit more than the traditional split. So over here, it is the bridge humbucker split. Normal humbucker. Blend sound, or HSX. But what's super cool is that it half shunts one of the sides, and what's cool is that if you flick it down here and use the split one where you're only using the screw coils, if we engage the blend, it only half shunts the slug, so we get kind of another blend sound here. Blend sound number 1 again. Super cool guitar, my favorite Strandberg as of yet, and yeah, hope you enjoyed this kind of little breakdown of what this actually is. Thanks for sticking around for so long. I hope you enjoy this little Ask Me Anything kind of a thing. Let me know in the comments field below if you did or not. Just thinking out loud, possibly down the line we could see if we could collaborate with some different companies and get some really rewarding giveaways or stuff like that, or kind of whatever you guys are interested in. I'm trying to build a little community that could be helpful to a lot of people, whether it's tips in regards to gear, maybe you want to get to know some new kind of pedal that you want to buy, or maybe there's a new music theory concept that we've been talking about and somebody else have been able to provide additional info in that, and from that we can just all learn together. There's a lot of stuff that I forget to mention, or that I in hindsight think that I could have mentioned too, or expanded upon. So it's just kind of like a learning thing for all of us, and I just am experimenting with this kind of more kind of one-on-one, getting to know you guys a little bit better, and vice versa, and we can just have like a little coffee chat almost, although it's nighttime. Still got a little bit of coffee, but in my slash mug. If you want to support this channel, then make sure to hit up the patreon.com/KevinEknes. And if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you do that. If you're enjoying the content or not, hit the like or dislike button. Let me know if you like it or not. And I really hope to see you very soon. Have a great rest of the day.